This documentary is on Phrogging, the home invasion of unwanted guests. If you have a suggestion on a documentary you would like me to write, please let me know in the comments section. I'll do my best to get the documentary to you on my channel. Please don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you. Phrogging is a term used to describe the practice of secretly occupying someone else's residence without their knowledge or permission. This is typically done by people who are looking for a place to stay temporarily, such as college students, travelers, or homeless individuals. The term phrogging is derived from the word frog, which is known for its ability to survive in a variety of environments. Phrogging is a controversial practice that raises serious legal and ethical questions. It is considered a form of trespassing and is illegal in many jurisdictions. Additionally, it can be dangerous for both the frogger and the property owner, as it can lead to unexpected confrontations and other risks. Despite the risks and legal consequences, phrogging has become increasingly popular in recent years, especially among young people who are looking for low-cost housing options. This trend has been fueled by the rising cost of housing, especially in urban areas where rents have skyrocketed in recent years. In this documentary, we will explore the origins of phrogging, its risks and consequences, and some of the ethical and legal issues that arise from this controversial practice. The practice of phrogging has been around for decades, although it has only recently gained widespread attention. It is believed to have originated in the 1960s and 1970s, during the height of the counterculture movement in the United States. At that time, many young people were disillusioned with mainstream society and were looking for alternative ways of living. Some turned to communes or other forms of shared living arrangements, while others chose to live on the streets or in abandoned buildings. Phrogging was one way that young people could find temporary housing without having to pay rent or follow the rules of conventional housing. They would sneak into unoccupied buildings, such as factories or warehouses, and set up camp. Some would even live in the basements or attics of occupied buildings, such as hotels or apartment complexes. Phrogging gained a new level of popularity in the 1990s, thanks to the rise of the internet and online forums. People began to share information about vacant buildings and other places where they could stay for free. This led to a new generation of phroggers who were more organized and more willing to take risks. Today, phrogging is still practiced by a small but dedicated group of people who are looking for low-cost housing or an alternative way of living. However, it is also a controversial practice that is increasingly seen as a form of trespassing and vandalism. There have been several reported instances of phrogging over the years, although it is difficult to determine the exact number of cases, as many go unreported or are not discovered. One notable example of phrogging occurred in 2006, when a man named Jeremy Wilson was discovered living in the attic of his ex-girlfriend's home in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Wilson had reportedly been living in the attic for 2 weeks, unbeknownst to the homeowner. He was charged with burglary and trespassing. In 2014, a couple in Santa Ana, California, discovered that a man had been living in a hidden room in their home for several days. The man, who was later identified as 29-year-old Ruben Castro, had reportedly entered the home through an unlocked door and had been living in the attic and crawl space. He was charged with burglary and possession of stolen property. In another instance of phrogging, a man named Joshua Lee Long was discovered living in a woman's closet in Wichita, Kansas, in 2012. Long had reportedly been living in the closet for several days, using the woman's clothes and showering in her bathroom. He was charged with criminal trespass and theft. While these cases may seem unusual, they highlight the potential dangers of phrogging and the importance of being vigilant about home security. Homeowners can take steps to protect their property by locking doors and windows, installing security systems, and being cautious about who they allow into their homes. Phrogging can have serious legal and ethical consequences for both the frogger and the property owner. Some of the risks and consequences of phrogging include: 1. Phrogging is considered a form of trespassing, which is a criminal offense in most jurisdictions. If caught, phroggers can face fines, community service, and even jail time. 2. Phroggers often leave behind a mess and can cause damage to the property they occupy. This can lead to costly repairs for the property owner. 3. Phrogging can be dangerous, especially if the property is not well maintained or has hazardous conditions. Phroggers may be exposed to mold, asbestos, or other health hazards. 4. Phroggers who are caught by property owners may face verbal or physical confrontations. This can be especially dangerous if the property owner is armed or aggressive. 5. Phrogging can lead to legal and financial consequences for both the frogger and the property owner. The frogger may be required to pay damages to the property owner, including the cost of repairs and any lost rental income. They may also be held liable for any injuries or accidents that occur on the property while they are occupying it. In addition, phrogging can have serious legal and financial consequences for the property owner. If the property is damaged or occupied without permission, the owner may have to go through a lengthy and expensive legal process to regain possession of the property. They may also face financial losses if they are unable to rent out the property during this time. Furthermore, if the frogger causes damage to the property or engages in illegal activities while occupying it, the property owner may be held liable for any harm caused to third parties. For example, if a frogger starts a fire while cooking in the property and damages neighboring properties, the owner may be sued for damages. Phrogging raises a number of ethical and legal issues that are worth exploring. One of the main ethical issues is the question of whether it is ever acceptable to occupy someone else's property without their knowledge or permission. Some argue that phrogging is a victimless crime that harms no one, while others believe that it is a serious breach of property rights and should be punished accordingly. Those who support phrogging argue that it is a form of civil disobedience that challenges the unjust distribution of property and housing. However, opponents of phrogging argue that it is a dangerous and illegal practice that puts both the frogger and the property owner at risk. They also argue that it undermines the rule of law and the right to private property, which are fundamental principles of a free and democratic society. From a legal standpoint, phrogging is typically considered a form of trespassing, which is a criminal offense in most jurisdictions. Trespassing laws vary from state to state, but generally, a person is guilty of trespassing if they enter someone else's property without permission and with the intent to commit a crime or cause damage. Some states have enacted specific laws that target phrogging and other forms of squatting. For example, in California, it is a misdemeanor to knowingly enter and occupy an uninhabited or abandoned building without the owner's permission. In conclusion, phrogging is a controversial practice that raises serious legal and ethical questions. While some see it as a form of civil disobedience that challenges the unjust distribution of property and housing, others view it as a dangerous and illegal practice that undermines the rule of law and the right to private property. Regardless of one's perspective on phrogging, it is important to recognize the risks and consequences that it can have for both the frogger and the property owner. From a legal standpoint, phrogging is typically considered a form of trespassing, which can lead to fines, community service, and even jail time. While phrogging may provide a temporary solution for those who are struggling to find affordable housing, it is not a sustainable or ethical practice. Instead, efforts should be made to address the root causes of homelessness and housing insecurity, and to ensure that everyone has access to safe and affordable housing. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to keep up with the latest videos. Thank you.